Hi there, Marcy.
How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Good. Mm. Are you in, where are you? You're
I am in a hotel. I'm in Boston.
Boston. Well, I'm in Florida.
I guess we just can't stay home, huh?
That's right.
I've
How's the
been here
weather?
since Saturday. It's a little cool today. It's in the 40s and
Well,
stuff.
wow.
So I'm right downtown doing
But
some
no snow though.
No
Well,
snow.
good. We have some friends here who live in Canada. They just got dumped like 8 inches, and it's supposed to be springtime, beginning of spring. This is unusual.
Yeah. Now, where about in Florida are you?
We are in Fort Myers on the West Coast.
Got it. Okay. I
Yeah.
moved from Tallahassee to Virginia.
Oh,
I was there for about 13 years. Yeah. My daughter and son-in-law are still there. Got family in Tallahassee, Tampa, and Miami, all over the place.
yeah, that's nice.
All transplants.
So how do they like it down here?
Well, we all moved I was married at the time, so I was coming from Hawaii to Florida. They were Michigan to Florida. So yeah, we all loved it.
I bet.
I didn't like the humidity in Tallahassee. That's why I left.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely humid here, but still it's nicer. The temperature's 85 and sunny. So
yes.
Hi,
Yeah.
Lana.
Hi, Lana.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hey.
How are you feeling?
Feeling good. Yeah, just getting bigger.
Oh man. Now did you have to stop working for?
No, still working.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I should be there through the end of the school year. So
Wow.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Hey, Catherine.
Hey.
hey.
Good afternoon.
Robert.
How's everyone?
Oh,
Good,
doing
how are you?
great.
Good.
Doing great. Thank you.
I just had to update my computer, so it just finished.
Oh.
That happened last night to me. It was updates for Zoom. Yeah.
Well, mine was the whole system, and you can only deny it so many times, and then it
Yeah.
makes you. So I had reached my limit.
Good.
All right. Dr. Kimball, he's on. I think, yeah, he's on. And who else? Angela, she joined us? Or she's not on this committee? Yeah, she is. She's staff liaison.
Yes, I think she was.
We'll give her a few minutes.
Okay.
I guess Robert is not available. Peter, Carol, and Barbara. Okay, so we'll give them 2 minutes, okay, if you all don't mind.
Sure.
Hello, everybody. People I know that couldn't make it or I didn't hear from were Robert, Peter, and Barbara. So they probably won't be with us.
Okay, Thank you, Dr. Kimball. So in that case, well, I'll still give Carol a minute.
Yeah, Carol did say that she was going to try to make it.
Okay, great.
Good. Good. What's it like in Lynchburg, Robert?
It's cloudy,
Uh,
and about almost 80 degrees, which is too warm for me.
Wait, 80
80?
Uh-huh.
in
Yes, ma'am.
Lynchburg? Wait a minute, that's Virginia. Wait. I'm up in Boston and we're 43 right
Are
now.
you oh, don't brag. No, but
I'm bragging. It's 43 degrees, but wait a minute, 80? I'm checking the weather. I'm trying to think of what Charlottesville is.
82.
Well, I'm in Florida and it's 82, so hey.
Well, wait a minute. Let me get this thing working here. Well, Tampa's 89.
There you go. So
That might be hot here.
Charlottesville is 83. Oh my
God.
goodness, I'm missing and cloudy.
all right.
Richmond, what you guys got 85? Are you serious? Oh, gosh. I'm missing it.
No, you're not.
It's
All
experience.
So it's 102. And so unless there's an objection, let's go ahead and start our meeting. So again, good afternoon, everyone, and I hope everyone is doing well. It's great to see you all. We have a short agenda. However, knowing us, it could last the entire hour, so which is fine. So first item on the agenda is from Dr. Kimball for the planning of the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. Dr. Kimball.
Okay. Yes, we have been working on a plan to commemorate the 250th. And of course, we're trying to think about, what would it look like, particularly given the library's collections. And one of the things that Peter Broadbent brought forward was religious liberty, and particularly in Virginia was a really important topic, led to the Statute for Religious Freedom. And it is one of the signature events that the 250 State Commission is highlighting. We have lots of petitions from community groups all across Virginia related to this. And so we were looking at the petitions from about 1776 to 1786. We then started looking at all of the petitions, and there are many others. Some of them are related to manumissions of enslaved people. Some of them are related to the war effort. And we started thinking that maybe what we should really be writing a proposal for is the entire petition collection, which is, I think, a little over 2,000 pieces. And there's some conservation needs with those, but they do tell a really interesting story of the arc of the revolution in Virginia, particularly the home front. So we're working on that. We've been consulting with some historians and other people who are particularly digital historians to see how we might do some crowdsourcing of that material and also try to make it as accessible and as broad as we possibly can. Catherine has also been involved in some of those conversations. Catherine, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, and I'll also say that we've been kind of drafting out kind of what some of the educational initiatives and components would lifelong learning programming. And obviously, this would be a great opportunity to use the vehicle, which, we will have. I've already been in conversation with Chesterfield County. They are already planning 8 years of worth of events for the America's 250. So I think this will be a really great opportunity to take some of these resources to the localities.
Any questions for Dr. Kimball or Ms. Wyatt? Chairman Brockwell, good to see you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Canada. A question on when you may know about the proposal that you're working on with the commission. or when you might hear back on whether that gets kind of approved for the plan y'all are developing?
That's a good question. So the timeline right now, we were going to get through the board meeting. We've got actually a pretty detailed proposal, but Kathy Jordan is working on particularly the digital piece. What our plan is to talk to Cheryl Wilson, who, as you know, is the executive director for the commission, in the week after the board meeting, run this by her and try to get some sense of her interests. I know that Peter's talked to a couple commission members and as well as the Secretary of Education, and gotten a really positive response. We probably would then submit that at the July meeting of the commission. So that's the timing of it.
And when would it start? When's the whole celebration starting?
It's still starting right now, practically.
Okay.
Yeah, it is going to be, if we really do the entire 9 years to the Treaty of Paris, it's going to go on for a while. We were proposing this as about a 3-year project because, as I said, there's a conservation dimension. A lot of these documents were encapsulated in something we would not use today. And like some of our other collections, they need to be basically removed from that. And so that would have to happen. Then, of course, we would want to redigitize all of them so we have the cleanest possible copies. And then, it's really the public part. I think Shelley, too, did you mention, Shelley, that you had some relatives who signed some of the petitions?
Yeah, and the 10,000 petition, I'm forgetting the proper name of it, but up in Loudoun County, my 5th grade grandfather and 5th grade grand uncle are signed on there, and they were free people of color on that petition. And I talked to Peter, actually, when we were just there at the library. So yeah, it was interesting because I knew of it, don't know a lot about it, but I knew I found their names in the research, and I thought, oh, what are they doing on there? And they were landowners at the time as well. So, writing up a story on them for a journal article, and then this fell in that the library was doing something. I thought, okay, that means I'm gonna have to dig a little bit deeper and get a little bit more, because I got the journal, and then the library might say something about the petition. And I believe it was regarding the something with the religious stuff, and breaking away or something. So, and again, just getting going.
Yeah, a little more detail on what they are. I mean, the religious ones are primarily dissenters, Baptists, Methodists, New Light Presbyterians who want to disestablish the Anglican Church, which had really been part of the government, essentially. So it is one of the first attempts at a fairly broad sense of, religious freedom in America. Some of the petitions go even further and talk about, in the terminology of the time, Mohammedans and other religious groups, and that this liberty should be shared across all religions, which is fascinating. So it really is a very, very important moment in American history, leading to the First Amendment, of course. So I think it's great. That dimension of it is really cool. But there's others. There are African Americans who are going to fight for the British because they've been offered freedom. And there are petitions related to that. So there's all kinds of interesting things in there.
And I will also note what I picked up on research and, for this other thing, was that people petitioned the General Assembly to bring slaves into Virginia. And like 10, 20, they're petitioning from another state to bring them in. So I thought, another interesting fact, because they have names that go with them. And so I thought, what a great resource, for researchers, especially saying Louisiana, and I'm just using that as an example, Louisiana into Virginia instead of Virginia to Louisiana type thing. And I don't know how many other states had that same type of law that you had to petition to bring folks in. And I was kind of shocked, but again, we'll find out more about that and understand that. And with the names is what was critical for me and as a researcher, or even a descendant of an enslaved or an enslaver, to be able to find out names and locations. So I'm looking forward to it.
Any other questions, comments? Some good stuff. Thank you all. Next item on the agenda, on the Indigenous Perspective exhibition, Ms. White and Dr. Kimball.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and again, Catherine, please jump in. So, as most of you know, we had done an initiative where we've been getting together with all of the recognized state and federally recognized tribes in Virginia. We had a meeting last year here at the library where we basically talked about our collections, talked collectively about maybe some goals that we could have, leading to an exhibit, but hopefully also a long-term relationship with all the tribes. Over this summer, we completed kind of the second phase, and that was going and visiting each of the tribes, obviously the chiefs as well as other principal people, where they live, and just talking to them about the project and learning a lot about the tribes, their needs, what they're doing, and it's incredibly impressive, really. Several are starting healthcare facilities. It's just remarkable what's happened since federal recognition for many of them. So we have now visited with 8 of the 11 tribes. We're going to try to wrap that up. And then the next phase is interviews that we'll be doing that will be used in the exhibition. And part of that is working with the tribes to select certain documents from the library's collection that we'll use as kind of the spin-off to have those conversations. So it's going well. As I said, we've learned an incredible amount, and looking forward to just rolling along with have any thoughts?
Sure. So I'll just add in, right now, the exhibition is shaping up to sort of feature a lot of the tribal members reflecting on documents from our collections, but also things that they feel might speak more to their tribal history. So we are going to encourage, and actually a lot of people have already offered artifacts that they might want to have to sort of tell their story or a document. And so, we're working on that. If you were around for New Virginians, the oral histories kind of featured really prominently in the exhibition. And then that was complemented by sort of key pieces. And that's how we envision the look of this exhibition. So it's not going to be, crowded, but we really want the tribal members to be able to speak, and that to really be the focus. So we're really excited. The feedback has been really positive, and it's just been great getting out to do these visits, and we hope to continue the conversations well beyond the run of the exhibition.
You have a question. Has the library ever invited the 11 state recognized or the 7 federal to the library for a meet and greet?
We did. So we actually kicked off this whole project with that. And it was in May of last year. And I think, Greg, do you remember how many people came, how many tribes we had represented? It was 2 days.
I think we had the majority, maybe 8 or 9.
That's what I was thinking, 9. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so that's kind of how we started it. And it was just impossible to get everyone at the same time. So we had to do, 2 meetings, but yes. And I think that was a really good introduction. Many people have been to the library over the years doing research, for their own work in terms of, tribal history and recognition. But some people, had not been to the library before, or maybe it had been a while.
Ms. White, is that in your 2022 report? That
The
information
visits?
for the programs?
It's probably not reflected there because it's not a program per se.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Any questions regarding agenda item 2 for Ms. White or Dr. King?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to say, this is so exciting to see that y'all are centering the voices in kind of like the same oral history style that you did for New Virginians. And I want to commend you too on the digital installations that are part of the 200 years exhibits. I think thinking about how you could do more of that, it makes it so much more exciting and dynamic to walk into those spaces. Really well done. And then I guess the question is, I heard too that I think as part of this effort, y'all are working with folks to develop a land recognition for the library that we could potentially start to use at our signature events to kind of bring into the flow of the show. I've shared with the foundation folks, I'd love for us to do that at the literary awards if we can this fall, since that's a big moment for the library. But that's also exciting to hear that that's in the works, and I think it'll be an important thing to take part in.
Yeah, I completely echo those statements, and I know Sandy is kind of working on that, and I'm not sure if Angela has more of a time frame or not, but I know that she is working on it.
So the Library of Virginia is establishing and writing a land acknowledgement statement.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome, right? And so we all know that it goes beyond the statement, right? It has to go beyond the statement. So things like the Indigenous Perspective Exhibition is one thing, you know, and I don't know how much liberty or autonomy the library has to do more, but you know, actions speak louder than words. So that's good. Glad to hear that.
No, and you're totally right, Dr. Canada. And so one of the things, it's not on the agenda, but I'll mention it because it is something I think that ties to this. You know, this is our second year of doing summer and internship program for undergraduate students or recent graduates who might not be aware of careers in libraries, archives, and museums. And it's for students who have been traditionally either excluded or, you know, marginalized from the field. So I was really pleased to see that we did get some applications from tribal members. In fact, I wanted to interview one, and they, I think, got another position. So we are really trying to think about all of the different touch points in which we might engage with the tribal communities. And I feel like the education piece is a really important part as well. Thank you
all. All right, and then the last item on the agenda before we open it up, Ms. White and Ms. Flagg regarding the 2023 activities, an update.
Mm-hmm. Angela, do you want me to go first, or would you like to?
You can go first.
Okay. So going back to Paul's comment about the interactives, I wanted to give a little update on the exhibition. I know that we had just opened at the last board meeting, but a couple of things I wanted to point out particularly. The response has been overwhelming. I know that Angela and her team have done just a fantastic job promoting it, because we're getting a lot of requests for tours and you know, programs and speakers. So it's been really encouraging. The floor map particularly has just garnered so much interest. Several of us on staff have been wanting to do a floor map for years, and I'm really pleased to see just even people like going inside to the cafe, stop and kind of take a look. So I just think it's a really easy way to kind of liven up that lobby space. The behind the scenes video loop, that's the monitor that's kind of right outside the entrance to the gallery. That we are actually taking that video and we're going to be bringing it on the go. So when we have the vehicle and, you know, we don't have programming going on, we've got that monitor outside the vehicle, and we're going to have this loop available to run, because it's a really great way to kind of see the library, you know, virtually. So we're kind of reusing that. And then the 200 Stories interactive, that main interactive that kind of allows you to explore a variety of people across different times and places. We are working on getting that up onto our website so that it will be something that people can access not only if they can't get to the library, but also after the exhibition formally closes. And so we're really excited about that as well. And then I will just say signature programs. I'll just kind of go through them all quickly. We sort of launched our 200 years with a fantastic talk by Brent Tarter. He was a founding editor of the Virginia Dictionary of Virginia Biography, and I think worked at the library for over 40 years. He actually was able to put together a lot of the original 1828 catalog, which was the first sort of catalog of books in our collections, and talked about it. And it was just fantastic. We followed that up with a program on sort of celebrating the accomplishments of the Library of Virginia, as well as the Virginia Humanities Encyclopedia of Virginia, and sort of partnerships with the Martin Luther King Jr. Commission. Collectively, we wrote the biographies of the 92 African-American men who served in the General Assembly, basically between Reconstruction and the end of the 1800s. And it's just a really remarkable, I think, hidden and untold story of Virginia sort of politics, and certainly Virginia history, you know, in what's considered usually a really dark time for African Americans. And then most recently, we did a program recognizing the 100th anniversary of women in the House of Delegates. And we did a panel discussion the last week in March, where we had Jennifer Lawless from the University of Virginia moderating discussion between Charnel Herring, Vivian Watts, and Carrie Coyner. And it was really fantastic. It will be available on our YouTube playlist if you missed it. But just, you know, today there are sort of 37 women who have served, but it was really tough going when Vivian Watts was first in the General Assembly back in the day. And so that was great. We also, don't be remiss in saying, did our first Friday of the year. We're doing one a quarter in 2023. And I think they had a really great turnout. The Creation Station was very popular. And the next one will be in June. So I encourage you to check that out if you can. And then LVA on the Go, we launched March 25th in Suffolk. It was fantastic. Sandy came down and said a few words and stayed for part of the day. We had Greg and I were there, as well as several other staff. And I mean, I just think the feedback from the staff at the library and the patrons that we talked to was really positive. A lot of people who were there to drop off their books with their kids and pick up others stayed and engaged in the children's station. There was some sort of making there too, using some collections in creative ways. And I think the presentations that staff did were very well received. Virginia Untold was featured, Virginia Chronicle, Genealogy 101. And so it was great. And we are looking forward to going to Abington on the 15th with the vehicle. So it should be fun.
Pittsburgh next week and try to get the press release out immediately after we have those photos. We're also doing social media where we're targeting zip codes near their libraries where they will be visiting. And certainly we're planning to reach out to press in those localities. Regarding other anniversary events that are coming up, we're working on creating ads for the next First Fridays that will be in June, as well as for the Folk Life celebration that will be in July. And that's about it.
Chairman Brockwell, in regards to the board, right, as well as the library's anniversary, has there been conversation or thoughts about the board members having a photo taken with the polos?
We haven't had a specific conversation about that, but I think it's likely the next opportunity, since some of us will be in Roanoke and some of us will be virtual that day. It's probably going to be at the annual meeting in June, I would imagine. I hope everyone can come there because we do a nice luncheon after that meeting. I think it would be great to get folks with their polos. And I know that Taylor and Angela and Sandy have been working to make sure that anytime the vehicle is coming near you, you will hear about it and be invited to come as your schedule permits to take part in the festivities. So I'm hoping there's good opportunities. I feel spoiled here in Richmond because I went to the event in February that Catherine was talking about. I missed the Women's History Month one, but I'm looking forward to watching it. And they're both fantastic. I think we're going to have a lot of exciting things to celebrate in the coming months. Do you know, Angela or Catherine, are y'all also kind of taking on marketing for when they launched the Weinstein series as part of signature programs during the year as well?
Yes, we actually are working on a communications plan for that right now.
Awesome. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yep. And we just shared today, we have a quarterly meeting. The Weinstein schedule has been set for the year. So all of the authors have been confirmed, and I think we have 6. So that should be coming out soon. You know, it's sometimes a little challenging to wrangle bios and photos, but the events have been set. So we're really excited. Some really, I think, just a really wide range of authors. And yeah, I think Carol, the feedback we heard was that Carol Weinstein was just extremely pleased with the lineup.
Awesome.
How are those interactive exhibits holding up as far as if you're getting a lot of traffic? That's always the challenge of interactives is making sure they work.
I think they're doing okay. There were a few glitches early on. If you came into the lobby during the first couple of weeks, the center lobby niche monitor was like freezing, and they got that fixed. It was something with, honestly, the image size. So there were so many big images that it was causing it to freeze up, but they fixed that. We had a few other sort of minor things, but the great thing is that because we have a design firm and they're here, they've been really responsive as far as making sure, if we've got a problem, they come pretty quickly and take care of it.
Good. Yeah.
I've loved the social media strategy, Angela, of taking those it's like they gave you 200 social media posts for free, but I love seeing the imagery and the stories behind some, because it's hard to absorb all 200 of them when you're in the exhibit. So having them kind of parceled out has been wonderful to see. And I always feel like I'm learning something new when I see the stylized imagery of the 200 stories.
It's great to hear. Thank you.
And I'll add on to that. So when we actually mount that content on our website, one of the things that we have already done the research for is that we have links to where you can find out more about all of these people that are already in our spreadsheet. It just wasn't possible to put it all in the interactive without being bogged down. So that will be available when it's on our website. So for example, if you are interested in learning more about somebody, we'll be able to send you to at least one place, but oftentimes several places on our website to find out more.
Right quick, going back to the Indigenous Perspectives exhibition, also regarding the land acknowledgement statement and ways to further support and to show the library support to our Indigenous tribal nations. There's several upcoming powwows, and I'm not sure how many will take place in Richmond, but just food for thought. And again, to show support, the library could consider having a table or a tent or booth at those powwows.
No, and that's fantastic. So you've kind of read our mind, which is a good thing. So this past year, just our small exhibitions team, Greg, Barbara, Ashley, and I have just been attending. I think we attended just about every powwow, if not all of them last year. But our plan for 2024 is to actually take the vehicle and or have a table at as many of the powwows as we can. And again, I just think that's a really important part of the relationship building, and it's something that we definitely want to do. I created a separate calendar just for the vehicle starting in 2024 so that we can start getting all of these dates on there. So no, it's a fantastic point, and thank you for bringing it up.
All right. Any other agenda items that would like to be brought forth? So there are no committee action items. I'll give a report at the board meeting on the 17th, right? And everything. Okay, and there are no board action items to take up. So anything else for the good of the order?
I'll just,
Sorry.
this is just really more for Dr. Canada, but everybody too. Taylor very kindly replaced the programming attachment that was in the calendar invite. One of our charts was wrong. It said one program instead of 16, and I caught it, so we fixed it. So make sure that you look at the one, go back to it now if you had printed it out earlier, and it should be updated.
Thank you.
I was gonna comment, congratulations on that form and the charts. Well done.
Marcy?
I just have a question about outreach. Do we have a role to play in the Virginia Festival for the Book in Charlottesville at the end of March typically? Do we have an official role, or are we partners in any way, or?
So we don't have an official role, you know, and I think perhaps in the past, although I can't speak to it since my time at the library, maybe we were more involved. We have not been since I've been here about 9 years. But it's a really good question. And, you know, they have a new director for the Center for the Book. They have a new manager for the Festival for the Book program. So it might be, you know, it might be a good time to introduce ourselves to those new folks and see what partnerships might come out of it.
Yeah, I think it would be a great time for that. There's been transition. You know, Jane Kulo, who was the former chair of the Center, or not chair, but executive director of the Center for the Book, was very supportive of the Library of Virginia. She came to the Literary Awards several years, but it would be great to make some connections to the new executive director.
No, definitely. And I will also say, I just met Virginia Humanities has hired a Virginia Indian position. I think it's a coordinator position. And I just met her on a call about something else recently. So her name is Savannah, I think it's Barber, but don't quote me on that. And she's fantastic. She's a member, I think, of the Chickahominy. And, you know, so that position has been vacant at Virginia Humanities since Karen Wood passed away. And so I'm glad to see that they've filled that. Also, the Department of Historic Resources has hired someone, you know, from the tribal community to work on that program. And I think that's a newly created position. So it's pretty exciting. I'll also just say, and it might be a reminder for some of you, but maybe for some of you, it's new information. Under Governor Northam's administration, the Library of Virginia was able to get funding for 3 positions, new positions at the library. One was to make the Virginia Untold manager a permanent position because that grant funding is ending this spring. The second was to hire a community engagement person, and that's going to be in our area. And then the third was to hire a private papers position that would kind of focus on collecting underrepresented communities in our collections. And so we have in recruitment right now the community engagement person, and I am just really excited that as soon as we get that person on board, that, you know, some of these connections and communications that people have been doing because they have a passion and an interest, but it's not really part of their job. I'm hoping that we can funnel a lot of that to this new position so that they can really, I mean, their whole position is just going to be focusing on partnerships around the state with groups that we traditionally, you know, have not had relationships with before.
Good, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Well, Ms. Flagg and Ms. Wyatt and Dr. Kimball had to jump off. You know, on behalf of this committee, thank you all for the phenomenal work that you're doing, making sure that communities in Virginia, they're being valued, seen, and heard, which is very important, particularly those communities that have never been invited to the table And so thank you all for giving them voice. So if there's nothing else, I will go ahead and call this meeting adjourned, and I will see at least one of you on Friday, right?
I'll be on the screen, but,
Okay.
oh, no, yeah.
Well, take care.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.